welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Chloe. I am a second year psychology student at the University of Northampton, and I'm finally making a comeback on YouTube, we hope. We'll see how long this lasts, because normally I'm not very on it with this, but today is the start and I'm gonna do a whole get to know me Q&A kind of video again. So I asked for questions on my Instagram and just kind of wrote down some questions that I commonly get asked anyway. So let's just go through them and I will talk about myself a little bit, hopefully get to know me, and yeah, let's just get right into it. So I have written down all the questions on my little tablet and I've tried to organise them into specific categories, not necessarily categories, but so that it flows nicely rather than jumping. So the first question is, how old are you? And I am officially 20, which is crazy to say. I can't believe it, because how am I in my second decade? So the next kind of three questions that I got, I'm going to do together because they all kind of group, and it was, what do you study, where do you study, and what year are you in? So I think I answered all of these in my little intro, but I am a psychology student at the University of Northampton and I am in my second year. I'm actually coming to the end of my second year now, which is so crazy. And honestly, uni flies by, but I did not believe anyone when they said this, because I was like, no, it's 3 years, it's going to go so, it's going to take so long. No, how the hell am I closer to the end of my degree than I am to the start? And how am I only a year away from graduating right now? I'm sorry, what? I'm shocked, but it's gone so quick. I absolutely love it, and yeah, we're nearly in third year. The next question, which I really quite liked, was, why did you choose to study psychology? And honestly, I chose it because I loved it at A-level. I honestly found it so interesting, and I knew I wanted to go to uni, and I knew I wanted to do something that I found interesting, and it was kind of the thing for me that I knew I could kind of go into and I'd enjoy. So it was primarily the fact that I enjoyed the subject at A-level, and do you know what, I think I did make the right decision, because I enjoy it so much now that studying doesn't seem like a chore. So yeah, I just took it because I loved it, and I think it paid off. I think it really paid off, because I do really enjoy it. So the next question is, what's your favourite study technique? And honestly, I use a few different ones, but I think by far the thing that keeps me going is the Pomodoro technique, which basically, for those of you that haven't heard of it, is where you study for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. I tend to do the longer ones, which is study for 50 minutes, take a 10-minute break. But if I'm feeling like I can't focus, I'll do the shorter ones. And I just think, in my head, I'm like, this is 25 minutes, it's 50 minutes. The time does pass a lot more quickly than you think it does. And by the end of it, I want to continue anyway. It keeps me from burning out, and honestly, I think it's one of the best things that I've decided to use. I use a little app, I think it's called Focus To Do is the one that I use, but there's loads of different ones, and it gives me a breakdown of how much I've studied in the month, how many Pomodoros I've done, how many tasks I've ticked off, and I just love it because it makes it's very visual, and it makes me feel so proud of the work that I've done. But yeah, Pomodoro technique for me is a must. The next question is, what is your favourite thing about university? And honestly, I don't think I have one answer, because I just love the whole kind of vibe of university. I love that you're not there every day. I love that it's kind of shorter times that you're in classes. It's not 9 till 3 every single day. At least not for me anyway. I know it probably is for some subjects. But yeah, I just kind of like that it's more broken up, and it's kind of, you're with your friends, and studying for uni is a whole different vibe to studying for A-levels, and I like doing my uni work. It's so different, but I really like doing it because it's working on an assignment, preparing for an exam. It's very different, and I think sitting there working with friends at uni is one of the best parts. So There's loads of different answers for this question, but yeah, I think it's just like how different it is and how well the structure works as well, especially for me being a commuting student. Which leads me on to my next question, which is, what is it like to be commuting to university? And honestly, I knew commuting was the right decision for me. I knew I didn't want to live on campus. I knew that just wasn't something for me. And I wanted to save my money, to be completely honest with you. Like when I live just under an hour away from uni. I think it's like 35 miles or something like that. But for me, it is the right decision, and I love that time because it's like my me time. Don't get me wrong, commuting isn't for everyone. Getting up at like 6 a.m. to make it to your 9 a.m. lecture is not the one sometimes, but I do really enjoy it, and I think the life for me, being a commuting student and being at uni at the same time and kind of working that and balancing that, it works well for me. So I'd say it's definitely something to consider if you don't want to move into accommodation, but yeah, I really enjoy commuting. Now, the next few questions, I have no idea how to answer because it's basically career ambitions and like, what do you want to be in the future? Like that kind of vibe. And I don't know is the answer. I have no idea what I want to be in the future. And I think that actually helps because like I talk to so many people like on open days and different days like that. And they're all like, do you know what you actually want to do yet? Because like I have no idea. And I was like, no. I was like, I don't know, because there's just so many different areas of psychology that I find so interesting. And I'm like, do I go into clinical? Do I go into forensic? Do I go into educational? Like all of those areas to me are really interesting. And then there's like potentially teaching, or I don't even know. Like there's so many different pathways, like research, that I want to consider, and I don't want to close myself off yet. I still have no idea what I want to do. So I guess this is a little message. If you have no idea what you want to do with your life, don't worry, because I'm fairly certain 90% of us don't. But yeah, I also think it changes so much as well. I've met so many people that go into their degree like knowing exactly what they want to do, and then like halfway through they're like, actually I find this more interesting, so they like change. So I'd say don't worry about it, but yeah, it does stress me out sometimes, but I kind of in a way like not knowing, because I know when I finish my degree I can just do whatever interests me. So yeah, it's hard, but yeah. So the next question is, what are you watching at the moment? And I'm currently watching Grey's Anatomy, and I'm trying to think of the name of the series on Netflix that I'm watching. I think it's called Virgin River. Love them both. Grey's Anatomy on I think season 16 now, which is crazy. Like I've actually got through it a lot quicker than I thought I would. And I don't want to catch up. I don't want to, which is so hard because I'm going to have to eventually, but yeah, I'm watching Grey's Anatomy mostly at the moment. The next question is, what are your goals for the year? I don't have many because this year for some reason I didn't decide to make my little Pinterest like mood board thing, and I didn't actually sit down and have a goal making session, which is kind of annoying, and I do regret doing that. I might have to do it now, like for going forwards. One main goal is I want to join the gym. I'm quite close to doing this, to be fair. I went for like a taster session the other day, and I am going to join soon. Another thing is I think I set myself the goal of reading 40 books for the year. So I want to do that because that's more than I've read for any of the other years. And then I don't know, that's kind of it in terms of goals that I have at the moment. I wanted to go away twice. I've already been away once. I've got to go away again before the end of the year. That's one big goal for me, but I don't know where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, who knows. But yeah, I want to go away twice this year, and that's pretty much it. I don't really have many others, so that's kind of a rubbish answer, but I am going to sit down and make some goals at some point, hopefully. So the next question is, what is something that you want to learn this year? And honestly, I just want to learn more about myself, like my body and just different things, like my triggers and my happiness, like what they called, like my happiness triggers, I guess, as well. But also I really want to learn more French because one of my friends can speak quite good Spanish, and I just want to be able to speak another language. So I'm doing Duolingo at the minute. I did it for ages, for nearly a year in a row. I had a streak going, and then for some reason I just stopped. So I've started doing it again, but yeah, obviously I'll need to do a lot more, but at the moment I am doing Duolingo to hopefully learn a bit more French, but we'll see what happens. But I would love to be able to speak another language eventually, so I just want to kind of learn more. But yeah. So the next question is, what is your current read? And I'm currently reading Ruin and Rising by Leah Bodago, I think her name is. I don't know how you say her surname, so sorry if I'm wrong. But yeah, I'm reading Ruin and Rising, which is the third book in the Grishverse series. It takes me a while to get through those books because the first one I got through so quickly, and then the second one I was kind of like, I wasn't fussed about it. It didn't feel like a lot was going on. So I feel like that's put me off reading the third as quickly. But I just need to sit down and smash it out, I think. So I'm going to have a little bit of a reading session later to make my way through it. And hopefully I'll be able to finish it soon. My next question is, what book have you just finished? And the book I literally finished yesterday, and I read it in a day because it's quite quick, was the Heartstopper yearbook, because I just wanted to read it. I'd read all the Heartstopper series this year and I just wanted to see what that was about. It wasn't my favourite thing in the world, but I'm glad I did read it because it was actually quite interesting, like learning about how Heartstopper came about and things like that. So yeah, I finished that yesterday and I read it in pretty much one sitting, which was great. The next question is, what sort of books do you read? And honestly, this year I do want to kind of dip into different genres and try more out, because prior to this year I'd never really read like a fantasy book or anything like that. So I have started with fantasy this year, which is really good. I'm actually enjoying it. I typically, in the past, I've read more romance than anything else. Like, that's just been my go-to, which it still is, but I feel like this year so far, I'm using romance as more of like a palette cleanser. Like, I'm going back to that when I'm like, say I read like 2 thrillers in a row and I'm like, oh, I don't want to read anymore. Like, I'll go back to a romance just to get myself into it, like a snappy, quick kind of romance, which I absolutely love. So yeah, I'd say I'm trying a bit of everything this year. My go-to is romance still, but I am branching out a lot more, which I'm so happy about. So yeah, I mean, any book recommendations from literally any genre, hit me up because I want to try everything. The next question is what is your favourite book? And honestly, I think the book that I constantly recommend and I absolutely love is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I absolutely adored that book. I devoured it so quickly. I need to reread it. But yeah, I recommend that book to literally everyone. The same with It Ends With Us. I know Colleen Hoover's kind of controversial at the moment, but I think that book has got so many people into reading. So especially if someone's looking to get into reading, I do recommend that book, and Ugly Love as well at the same time. Saying that though, this year some of my favourite reads are The Castaways by Lucy Clark, Strange Sally Diamond, I can't remember who that's by, Liz Nugget, I think. Strange Sally Diamond, The Castaways, and I'm trying to think what else I've read that was like one of my favourites for the year. I think those two are the main two because they were really good. There's one I listened to audiobook as well. Oh, Yellowface. I listened to that on audiobook. Absolutely loved it on audiobook. It was so good. I want to read the physical book as well because I just feel like I'd like it in a physical book. But I want the paperback in that. I don't want the hardback. So I've been waiting for the paperback to come out and like the normal size paperback. But yeah, they're kind of my favourite books from this year and my favourite books in general. But yeah, I honestly, The Castaways I do recommend to everyone now because I really like that. It's also a series on Paramount Plus, which I haven't watched because I don't have Paramount Plus, but I mean, go watch it. But yeah, they're some of my favourite books so far this year and what I've read before as well. What are some of your most anticipated reads? And honestly, I don't know. This also goes along with the question that I got, which was what series can't you wait to read? I want to say Akatar is kind of really anticipated. That's a series that I've wanted to read for a long time. I've now got the books, but I've heard so mixed feelings about like the first half of the second book that I'm like, I don't want to let myself down because I've seen such good things. So I do want to read that, and I will get around to it eventually. I'm trying to think what else. Fourth Wing, really want to read Fourth Wing. A Little Life, that's been sat on my bookshelf for a while now. I think I got that for Christmas. It actually hasn't been that long, but I just don't want to do it because it makes everyone cry. I will do it eventually, but I also wanted to wait until I finished uni because I feel like that's a book that I really want to dedicate time to. So yeah, I think kind of they're my main ones, but I will get around to all of them eventually. It's just because I've heard so much about them, I want to be impressed, but also I feel like because the hype's so big, I might not be. Yeah, it's like the fear of not enjoying it as much as everyone else, but I will get around to it. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. So that is it for all the questions, and to basically wrap everything up, I love all things studying and reading, and hopefully I'm going to get into working out soon, so there'll be that also. I do love working out when I do get into it. I just need to ease myself back in. But yeah, I think for me, like this whole account this time around, it's going to be about documenting my journey. It's going to be about watching myself grow and kind of just be about me expressing myself and like having that kind of platform to do that and that thing to look back on rather than like doing it for other people. But yeah, I just can't wait to kind of document my journey, and yeah. Anyway, that is the end of this video, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon for a brand new one. Bye!